Hello everyone. Welcome to BYK Book Summary. I am Amin. Here we decode the inspiring journey, mental warfare, and empire building life lesson of the world's greatest legend. Today topics and their biggest secret are right on your screen. Let's dive in with my AI co-host.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a book that I promise you has the power to completely rewire how you look at, well, everything. We're talking about Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene. If you're ready to see life through a totally new lens, you've come to the right place. You know, it's no accident that brilliant minds like Charlie Munger saw this book as absolutely essential reading. His point was simple. If you don't get the basics of your own evolutionary programming, you're basically flying blind and bound to make huge mistakes in business, in your investments, and just in life. So what is this big idea? Let's break it down. Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at Dawkins's radical new perspective, the gene's eye view. Then, we'll figure out what he actually means by selfish. After that, we'll explore the wild idea of memes, connect it all to why you make certain decisions today, and finally, asks a big one, what does this all mean for free will? So first up is the absolute core of the book. And you've got to understand, Dawkins didn't just add a little footnote to Darwin's theory. No, he completely flipped the camera around. He changed the main character in the entire story of evolution. Think back to high school biology. We all learned the Darwinian view, right? It's about organisms, the lion, the gazelle, the individual, competing to survive and pass on their traits. But Dawkins says, hold on, you're looking at the wrong level. He argues the real battle, the fundamental competition, is happening between the genes themselves. And this leads to a pretty mind-bending idea about us. From the gene's point of view, our bodies, your body, are nothing more than survival machines. We are these incredibly complex robots, these vehicles built by our genes for one single purpose, to protect them and to make more copies of them. It's a wild thought. Now, this brings us to that word in the title, selfish. This is, without a doubt, the most misunderstood part of the entire book. It does not mean we're all destined to be cruel or greedy. Dawkins is using selfish as a really powerful metaphor. Here's the key. Genes don't have feelings or motives. They're not thinking selfish thoughts. A gene is called selfish simply if its actions in the world cause it to get copied more often than another version of that gene. It's all about the outcome, not the intention. The genes that are good at making copies are the ones that stick around. That's really it. Okay, so you're probably thinking, wait a minute. If it's all about gene-level selfishness, then what about kindness? What about self-sacrifice? Why does a mother bird risk her own life to protect her chicks? It seems like a total contradiction, right? Well, the answer is something called kin selection. An act that looks selfless, like helping a family member, is actually a perfectly logical move from the gene's perspective. Think about it. Your siblings, your kids, they carry copies of your genes. So by helping them survive and reproduce, you're helping to ensure the survival of your own genes. It's gene-level self-interest disguised as personal sacrifice. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Dawkins took this idea of a self-replicating unit and applied it not just to biology, but to culture. And in doing so, he coined one of the most famous terms of the last 50 years, the meme. And no, he was not talking about those funny pictures of cats on the internet. A meme is basically a unit of culture. It's an idea. It could be a catchy tune, a new fashion trend, a philosophical concept. It starts in one brain. Then, through language or imitation, it jumps to another brain. And if it's good at getting it self-copied, it spreads through the population, almost like a mind virus. Okay, so we've got genes replicating in our bodies and memes replicating in our minds. How does all this deep, ancient history actually show up in our daily lives? Well, the truth is our brains are kind of running on some very old software, especially when it comes to things like money. Ever heard of loss aversion? It's this weird quirk where the pain of losing $100 feels way, way worse than the joy of gaining $100. That's not just a weird thing your brain does, it's a survival instinct. For our ancestors, losing their food for the week could literally be a death sentence. Gaining a little extra, that was just a nice bonus. That same ancient risk calculation is now hardwired into how you look at your investment portfolio. And this framework suddenly makes so many human behaviors make sense. Our instinct to favor our own tribe or in-group, that made sense when outsiders could be a real threat. that powerful gut reaction we have to status symbols, it's an echo of an ancient system for sizing up the competition or potential mates. These aren't random quirks. They're predictable patterns baked into us by millions of years of evolution. So, this all leads us to a really big and frankly kind of uncomfortable question about what it means to be human. If we're just these elegant machines built to serve our genes, what does that say about our own freedom? Seriously, just think about that for a second. Are our hopes, our dreams, our choices, are they all just the incredibly complex output of our genetic programming? Are we really in control? Dawkins's answer to this is a powerful and optimistic yes, we absolutely do have free will. In fact, we seem to be the only species on Earth capable of consciously rebelling against our genetic instructions. We use contraception, a direct defiance of the gene's prime directive. We adopt children who share none of our genes. We donate blood to complete strangers. We act against our immediate self-interest all the time. And here's the beautiful irony. The very same process of evolution gave us these massive brains. And those brains have developed a capacity for conscious thought and foresight. Our awareness is the one tool we have that allows us to understand our own programming and, if we want, to choose a different path. That is where our freedom lies. And that's really the final thought. Once you start to see the world through this gene's eye view, it's hard to unsee it. It gives you this incredible lens to understand human nature, but it also leaves you with a very personal question. Now that you know about the program, what will you, with your unique human consciousness, choose to do about it?
So, friends, that was the complete breakdown. Make sure to take a screenshot of this growth gift, this infographic, so this lesson stay with you. If you want to learn from legends every single day, join our community. I am Amin. Always remember, read more, think deeper. Let me know in the comments who we should cover next. See you in next episode.